and we're colored. Give me a high five.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. I really appreciate it. Happy Spider-Man No Way Home Day. I hope everybody who gets a chance to watch the video enjoys it, or gets to watch the movie enjoys it. I'm going to go see it tomorrow. I'm kind of excited. Hopefully it's good. I tried to avoid any reviews just so I can have my own opinion of it. I want to be able to enjoy the movie without somebody coloring my opinion. Since I wasn't here last week, I'm going to review both episodes of Marvel Studios' Hawkeye simultaneously. Episodes 4 and 5, entitled Partners, Am I Right? And the penultimate chapter, Ronin. A lot was made with the introduction of two new characters to the Marvel Universe. One is somebody that we've known recently because of the Black Widow movie, and the other, which was sort of unexpected but welcome, is the introduction of the Kingpin, played by Vincent D'Onofrio. There used to be a magazine called Wizard, and it was something that I read a long time in my childhood. And before the internet, and we had Cinema Blend or Screen Rant or any of those dirt sheet websites, it used to be where we used to get all our information. And back then, they used to have casting calls for characters to play in certain movies. And Wizard magazine had a casting call for the X-Men. And I was about 7 or so, maybe 8 years old, and I was talking about it with my dad, and it was so inconceivable that we would have movies where we would have characters all in the same movie. Because at the time, Marvel was going through a bankruptcy, and all their characters were just parsed off to different movie studios. Spider-Man went to Columbia, and then which became Sony. Hulk was and Iron Man was with Paramount, and Fantastic Four and X-Men were with Fox, and so on and so forth. And as I said, it felt so like it would never happen. And even when the Marvel Studios first came out, and we saw Iron Man, and we saw all these characters start to come together for Avengers, it still felt like it was so far away. Because, a lot of these movie studios, these are $1 billion movies, or well, at the time it wasn't, and it felt like it was always going to be a roadblock for it to happen. Now you see the Kingpin in a Hawkeye. Not even a movie, a TV show. So just having this happen, it kind of makes me emotional to know that we're finally going to see things that I could have, the 8-year-old me would have only dreamt at. In terms of the episode, last 2 episodes were great. They felt focused, and that's some of the things that Marvel shows have been lacking, is this a certain focus. WandaVision, I know a lot of people, they love WandaVision and stuff like that. I didn't particularly like it as much as everybody else did, but it felt a little drawn out, or that it wasn't as impactful. And a lot of the Marvel shows, the TV shows, they felt the most impactful one was Loki. But they felt they were just missing something, and for different reasons. It was hard to see the impact on the overall universe. Like I said, Loki has the whole multiverse thing that was opening up, and that had impact. as much as we could say like, well, Sam is becoming Captain America, it just didn't feel like the impact in the overall. We don't know where Sam is going to end up. Is he going to be the leader? Is he going to take over for Cap? Is he going to lead everybody in the battle? We didn't know any of that. So it's hard to say where it's going to come. No, but in Hawkeye, which is kind of funny, is that we actually feel the impact. Because seeing the Black Widow show up, she has a purpose for being there. Obviously, we know Echo is getting her own show, but that's Harriet coming from perfect strangers to Family Matters. That's not really impact in my mind. Like I said, the show has impact. We have the Kingpin showing up in a show where he is probably, what it looks like is he's the big bad. I doubt he's gonna fight anyone or anything like that. But I feel like his appearance brings the impact, and the impact that even before everybody goes to see Spider-Man, this is the multiversal thing that we're seeing, because something that was inconceivable before is that we have confirmation that Charlie Cox is Daredevil. We have confirmation that Vincent D'Onofrio is the Kingpin. So seeing the Kingpin as a character in the show, I don't think it's gonna happen, but we have a opportunity to see Hawkeye go up against the Kingpin. They might go up against each other. So that, I feel like, what makes Hawkeye, hopefully they stick the landing on the 6th episode, but I feel like for the most part it is that the Hawkeye's been successful so far, in what it was trying to do and what it was trying to achieve. And the episodes, the previous episodes, Partners, Am I Right, the little Christmas kind of relationship. I'm not a big, my favorite Christmas movie is Die Hard, so that'll tell you where my mind is. But I felt that the chemistry between Jeremy Renner and Haley Steinfeld, it really worked for me in terms of seeing their relationship build, because she has a little bit of hero worship, and it's like meeting somebody that you admire and getting close to them and seeing what makes them tick, and them having that heart to heart. It actually worked for me. And like I said, I'm not a big, I don't watch those I can't even think of it, what the Hallmark Channel Christmas shows and stuff like that. I'm not a big fan of those kind of things, or watching Christmas themed movies or anything like that. But this was, it worked for me. Their connection worked, and the inevitable Lassie thing, where it's like go home, you're no good, kind of thing. I knew it was gonna happen, it was inevitable, but it works. It worked in the context, and even though some tropes might seem played out, they work for a reason. The fight scene at the end of the 4th episode was a little choppy, and I think that you have so many people, especially people who are not trained, put your best foot forward, and I felt like it was a little, like I said, it was a little choppy. I mean, it didn't take that much from the episode, but if the episode was weaker, then if they didn't build up to this crescendo, or build up this amount of goodwill, because if it wasn't the Black Widow or some other character that was showing up in this episode, it probably would have killed the episode. But knowing that the Black Widow, that this was going to be the Black Widow, it you're able to kind of parse that out of what you're thinking, because you know what it's going to lead to. As the Ronin episode, it was a very good episode, and most of the reason why it was a good episode was because Florence Pugh was amazing. Her timing, her kind of personality. And then I know that a lot of these shows are based off of the kind of Josh Whedon humor, but she actually came off very well to me. She was funny. I chuckled while I was watching it, and she did a good job of defining the character. One of those things, as an aside, when people are talking about maybe having a female James Bond, this is your female James Bond. If Scarlett Johansson wanted to make side stories of the Black Widow, sort of like a tales of the Black Widow, this would be it. The Black Widow in the comics does not really have that much of a established personality. She's sort of as blank slate as you could have it. I mean, I don't know where she was recently in the comics, but I feel like this is the opportunity to where you can the next writer can take this character far. I don't if they wanted to replace Natasha or do something different, like this is she's like, take notes, like this is how I want to read her. This is sort of like the voice that I hear if I ever read her in a comic book. So good job, Florence Pugh, on that. The other thing is they seem to be adding a little bit more to where that I can see. I don't know this to be true, but for I can see, like, if they wanted to do a season 2, you have the character of Grills as sort of like Hawkeye's, as a Girl Friday, like, right hand man, Alfred kind of guy, like, I think that, and I don't know how you establish that with him having a family, which is kind of like, I feel like one of the downsides of him having a family, because you can't really, if you want to continue the show for like 5 seasons or something like that, you can't do that, because it is, he has a family and they're not going to be in New York. They're going to be far from the action. So that's why I kind of feel like having a family is sort of like a downside. The other thing that I liked was in the Ronin episodes was, I do like Maya Lopez as Echo. She finally confronts Clint, and he tells her, goes over the revelation of what happened with her father. They did a scene where she doesn't speak, and he's telling her through ASL. And the crazy thing is, it felt intense, which is it's a credit to the director of the episode. Like, it felt like intense. Might be able to sign off on an Echo series. I mean, I don't know if the actress can talk, but when you think about it, it's like a whole show where the main character does not speak and everybody talks around her, or it's like watching a foreign film. So I'm not sure how that's going to end up. Now, before I review the episode, I wanted to talk about the revelations with the big guy, aka the Kingpin. Now, having it, like as I said earlier in the review, is like I am all for the Kingpin being on this show. Like it pleases me greatly. Now, in terms of logistical aspects of it, I do feel like the Kingpin is missing a air of menace that he had on the Netflix show. Now, the Netflix show, he felt like a big deal. We didn't see him early on. We didn't know who he was. Like, they gradually, built him up. They first started off by humanizing him. Then eventually they showed the cracks in his exterior. Like, he didn't appear out in public, except that the instances where he was trying to see Vanessa. So they slowly built this air of menace to him, to where he actually felt a little scary. And with this show, I do not fear the Kingpin. I'm happy that he's there, but I don't fear him. And the Daredevil show did benefit from the opportunity to slow burn it, to let it simmer. Maybe they could have sprinkled in some scenes where we see the Kingpin speak to people, from the shadows, or from maybe talking to like sort of intermediaries. Like, he knew things that were happening, that he felt it. I highly doubt that the Kingpin is ever going to show up physically in this show, where they're not gonna have a one-on-one fight with the Hawkeye. That's not gonna happen. At least I highly doubt. I'm probably 99.9% sure that's not going to happen. But I feel that he's in the Netflix show, in Self-Contained, he felt like a threat to not just to Daredevil, to everybody, because he had the police in his pocket. He had, he might have had government officials in his pocket. He owned pretty much, he had, just when you thought that, like, hey, this seems like it's gonna work out, then they pulled the rug from under you, and then had the Kingpin win, some episodes. So, like I said, he felt like a big deal, a threat. He does not feel like that in this show. And the difference between the Netflix show and this show, like, while the Netflix shows, they did allude to the Avengers, they did all they could to not have those characters show up. So in this, they felt like the Avengers weren't even around in the Netflix shows. Like, you felt and it kind of feels like, like the reverse. Like, the Netflix show, which is where the Kingpin is from, doesn't feel all the way connected to the Disney show. So we know he exists. We know he's a part of it, but he doesn't feel connected to it. In terms of the character of the Kingpin, you have to kind of make him bigger than he's ever been, and maybe even in the comic books. He has to be a Lex Luthor style villain to me. The only way this is going to work is if he's that, because in this Marvel universe, with him as the big bad of New York, he's not the mayor like he is in the comic books. He's just a crime boss working under the underbelly. It's like, how is he a threat? And I think that Kevin Feige has to figure out what makes this guy a threat, because we haven't, if the Avengers are around, what is stopping them from taking him down? Because as of it looks right now, he's just a regular crime boss. We don't know if he has political leanings, what he's connected to. So as it looks right now, what makes people have to be afraid of him? You could say Hawkeye, Clint said that in a discussion with his wife, she said that we're so far away, and Clint says, well, he's not close. So, well, he said that we're never going to be far away enough. But you know, but why not? You know, you're a government. I mean, I guess you could say these things happen in real life with, like, say, agents and stuff like that, where they have to be afraid of crime bosses or cartel members and stuff like that. But none of them have superpowers, or none of them are skilled enough to hit a target from 100 yards. You know, Hawkeye spent his whole, the last 5 years of Endgame killing crime bosses. You think any of them were on the same level as the Kingpin? So, that's my my view of it. Other than that, I'm gonna get out of here. Everybody who's going to see the movie today, enjoy. I'm going to see the movie tomorrow, as I said. Please be kind to each other. Don't ruin the movie for anybody else. If you've seen it, hold it in, until at least Monday, and even then, just kind of be respectful for people who haven't seen the movie. In other words, don't be a dick. Other than that, take care of each other, take care of your family, and I'll see you in the next one.